Hello there, Internet! I am your host, J-Man. Welcome back to Let's Play! Danganronpa, Trigger Happy Havoc. Don't know why I delayed there, but we left off. We did some more investigating to find out who killed Chihiro, because who would do that? All she wanted was to be stronger. Alright, so, Chihiro died at 2 a.m. and that she was found in the girls' locker room and that she was killed by a blunt object. Although Chihiro wanted to be stronger, she declined invitations from Sakura and Hina and may have used the locker room late at night to avoid them. Despite this, Chihiro stated that she wanted a desire to help her efforts. She may have met someone in the locker room the night she was murdered. The dumbbell found on the locker room. Basically, probably may or may not be the murder weapon. Chihiro had told anyone willingly to listen that she wanted to get stronger. As there's some inferiority complex about being lead, she admired his strength to do anything else. The card reader we need to see is the handbook, and you need a guy's one to enter a girl. The guy's like, if not, it is not possible for two people to enter at the same time. Additionally, lending it is strictly prohibited. We also found out that in the main hall, Leon, Junko, and Sayaka's handbooks were all placed in a mailbox. One of these was mysteriously broken. Junko and Sayaka's were perfectly fine. So, maybe it belonged to Leon. But Monokuma says, no, it didn't break. We also found out about an infamous serial killer named Genocide Jack, or Genocider Seo. Wow, good job, localization team. Yeah, basically, what all three of these killings had to do was that they had the word bloodlust written on them in the victim's blood. And then they might suffer here. Hina said that Chihiro had continually gained the distance from the other girls at school ever since the beginning. Meanwhile, it had been noticed that she got along really well with the male classmates. Maybe she's secretly a slut. There's also a massive poop stain. Actually, it's coffee. We also found out that there was blood on the poster in the girls' locker room. However, the girls' poster had a big titty anime girl on it. Meanwhile, the poster on the other was BTS. And that Chihiro's handbook had gone missing. Chihiro's body was also suspended in the air with some kind of rope. Sakura also managed that the coffee stain and Sakura have it scribbled away. Byakuya, being the asshole he is, sat in the library reading a book using a lamp. However, the cord seems to be quite off there. And finally, Celeste said that she had a night during the night of the murder, right before nighttime. Chihiro was spotted leaving the warehouse, but seeing that she was stuffing full of some blue exercise clothes in a duffel bag, presumably she was on her way to exercise. But the clothes were not found at the scene of the crime. Celeste had not told anyone other than Makoto about this. Alright, so let's Let's get this class trial started. Oh, Raz!
Let's begin with a basic explanation of the class trial. So, your votes will determine the result. If you can figure out who, then I'll punish everyone besides the blackened and the one that deceived everyone. Okay, then. So, first off, let's talk about the murder weapon.
Let's make it clear, use the fatal blow. Alright, make your argument.
The hero's fatal it appears it was a headwind.
According to the Monokuma file, the killer used a... What kind of blunt instrument could it have been?
I bet it was an iron pipe.
Interesting. That certainly would...
Poor Chihiro.
Chihiro's it appears it was a... According to the Monokuma file, what kind of blunt... I bet it was an...
No, that's wrong!
Can we agree that the object that dealt the fatal blow was the dumbbell, found at the scene of the crime? It was covered in blood, and there was nothing else at the scene that could have caused that kind of injury.
And the wound on the victim's head is consistent with the shape of the dumbbell. As far as I'm concerned, there's no mistake and no room for doubt on this.
You looked at her head wound?
Yes! That's so creepy!
If you don't mind, I will proceed from here. Let's move on to discussion of the culprit. Although, I believe the criminal behind this heinous act is already quite clear.
What? For real?
Suddenly Persona.
Chihiro's killer is the fiendish serial killer, Genocide Jack.
He sounded like, I'm sorry, but Miyake sounded like a Smash announcer or something, or like a guy like a Nintendo Direct. Genocide Jack, the fiendish serial killer. Did he really kill Chihiro? Alright. White noise. So, basically, you have to press the A button to silence some white noise. However, oh yeah, basically it was set to gentle, but this time I'm not doing it. It's the first time I've ever done this. But since it's a Danganronpa in like a skill-based game, I'm not worried.
The culprit is Genocide Jack.
Sure.
Case closed, as far as I'm...
That's impossible!
Why? What makes it impossible?
Well, I mean, come on! There's just no proof for it.
No, that's wrong!
I might know one reason he could be involved.
What?
I found this file while I was looking around the archive in the library. I guess it's some kind of confidential file the police put together about the Genocide Jack case.
What? That's kind of weird as shit, isn't it?
The why of it is probably more trouble than it's worth. So let's forget about that. More importantly, it outlines all the specifics of every Genocide Jack case in exceeding detail. According to the file, there appear to be two defining characteristics in every Genocide Jack case. The first is that a bloody message is found written at the...
Oh, that's right. Boob lust.
No. It's actually bloodlust.
Bro, yeah, like
More
fucking
important
dumbass.
is the other characteristic. And
Never made public? What the hell is it?
why don't you tell?
Alright, what a characteristic.
I got it! Apparently, in every Genocide Jack case, the killer suspends the body in a certain way. Other than the killer, the only people who know about this are the higher-ups in the police department.
However, Chihiro was most definitely suspended in the same... So, How did the culprit know about this when only high-level police officials were aware of it? There's only one logical answer I can think of. It's because the culprit in this case is the real—
No fucking way!
You're saying Genocide Jack is one of us?
Yes, in fact, it's Toko.
What?
Genocide Jack's true identity is Toko Fukawa.
You lie!
Shut up, Ifumi.
What? Okay, wait, hold on a sec. Toko has like bloodophobia or whatever, remember? What kind of serial—
Is Toko Genocide Jack? The answer is yes and no.
Another riddle. Man, why is this gotta be so complicated?
It's real for sure, but I feel like I understand. Really, Jack Toko's not Toko. The other reason is that well, people, right? Yay! Hangman's Gambit! Oh my god, she's a shizno! Knock, knock.
Now I understand.
She's a dirty, dirty shizno.
Is it because Genocide Jack has a split personality?
Huh?
I think I read that somewhere in the file. They thought that the suspect might have, what did they call it? Dissociative identity disorder.
Oh, okay. But still, to go and say that about Miss Fukawa is...
Perfectly acceptable. Toko's strange behavior after seeing the body is proof enough that she has a split personality.
One thing Toko has to do with her behavior.
I got it! You're talking about how she started acting totally different than usual, right?
That's right. Think back. She fainted when she saw Chihiro's corpse, and then, when she woke up,
I'm fine, I'm fine. Whoa. Is that a buddy? Hey, are you dead? Yeah. She was like, I had to realize when she fainted. Double front back, dominating. See a troop and a web of lies. The Wicked Studio, it does completely different.
She was acting funny, that's for sure. That melancholy tone of hers completely disappeared.
Don't go assigning adjectives to my tone without permission.
not to mention, once she regained consciousness and saw Chihiro's body again, she was utterly calm. In other words, within her is one personality that can't handle blood, and one that obviously can.
So when Toko trapped herself in her room, it's because she was scared?
I won't let Genocide Jack have control. I'll drive out the killer, drive out the murderous fiend.
The reason she locked herself in her room wasn't to keep other people from getting in. It was to keep her other personality from getting out.
What?
Toko was afraid. Afraid of the murderous fiend inside of her. Of killing even more people.
Yeah. How can you know all this?
I do believe you misunderstood her. What she's trying to say isn't, how can you know all this? No. What she wants to know is, how could you tell them?
Huh?
Last night, just before Monokuma gave his motive speech, Toko and I had a strange... She told me a most interesting story. She said a murderous fiend lived within her, and she was afraid it could appear and attack at any time. And that trepidation is what's caused her to have such a bleak attitude. Isn't that right, Toko?
This is all a lie. Right, Toko?
You said you wouldn't tell anyone.
What?
You promised. I can't believe you lied.
You have only yourself to blame. You came to me with your tragic little story. I didn't ask you
Yeah,
to.
fucking Byakuya.
This is the real world, not some romantic fantasy fairy tale. Besides, you broke your promise first. You said that as long as you were here, no matter what, you wouldn't let Genocide Jack kill anyone. But in spite of that promise,
I'm sorry, I couldn't keep a promise, but don't worry, never again. I won't let Genocide Jack ever have control again.
You said if I kept my promise, you would go out with me. That's the only reason I promised.
how many times do I have to tell you? I never said that, but you weren't able to do it. You just couldn't resist that rush you got from killing, could you?
I tried. I swear I tried to control it,
But your efforts were useless. What a disappointment.
I hate you.
Well, the opening act is nearly finished. All that's left is to hear from the person in question directly.
You don't mean...
And now we get to took us by the backwards. And now we get to see the best character in the entire game.
Well, hello there. Is it me you were hoping to see?
Here she is. Yep. This normally would have been a surprise, but my Let's Play, but Fire Emblem Path of Radiance already kind of spoiled this character's existence. Ish.
What the heck? So you figured it out, huh? Well, whatever. What are you gonna do? I'm the ultimate murderous fiend, Genocide Jack! Or better yet, let's go with Genocide Jill!
Fizzart.
What the fuck is this? Toko, what happened to you?
Not Toko. That's a loser name. And what happened is a textbook split personality. So what if one of them happens to be a serial killer? You should turn a blind eye to one's faults.
Again. Aside from the laugh, she's the best character in this entire game.
So intense.
Like they say, sound in murderous mind, sound in murderous body.
This one is so different from the one we've come to know.
Yes, well, the world is composed of a front and a back human. Just like how every inning has a top and a bottom, or how in the depths of every truth lives a little lie. Behind every dark and gloomy soul lives another that shines as bright as the sun!
Yeah, if you're wondering, it's the same lady that plays Chie in more modern Persona games. This, Murderous Fiend, just like Jack, this is beyond insane!
Miss Jack, Jill, can I ask you a question?
What's up?
Some of us think you might be the mastermind behind our entire situation. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'll tell you, I am the mastermind of all masterminds! Just kidding!
Then it's not true?
Of course it's not true. How dare you try to link me to that creepazoid? And another thing, the police and government and society in the outside world are totally powerless. I mean, they just let this idiotic bloodthirsty maniac go buck wild all over town.
Sure, I'm a bloodthirsty maniac, but life is pain, right? To live is to hurt other people. It's a necessary evil if you want to survive. The act of living itself causes pain for everyone. Just kidding again!
This should be enough to convince you. This murderous fiend is responsible for Chihiro's death. There's clearly a motive, so there should...
A motive?
Remember what Monokuma told us? If someone didn't murder and graduate within 24 hours, an embarrassing memory or secret would be, well, let's assume that Toko's secret was if a secret like that came to light, Toko's life would have undoubtedly been forever ruined. So she had a very clear motive to never have that side of herself.
Interesting. Very, very, very... I'm sorry! As much as I hate to admit it, I'm not the culprit!
But I cannot imagine anyone other than you could murder someone in such a bizarre fashion.
Maybe so, but nevertheless it...
Do you really expect any of us to believe you?
Yeah. I could never believe a word you say.
Maybe she's totally right, but there's something bothering me. She said she has more detail about this. Okay.
but I didn't kill anyone.
Oh crap.
You say that, but do you really expect?
Perhaps if you had an alibi. Oh, an alibi, huh? Now we're talking.
When you compare
Yeah,
your
if you already
modus-
can't tell
the
from.
modus operandi matches completely. What more proof do we need?
J-Mod, yes. Oh yeah, funny story about that J-Mod scene was that when Jill and another killer from V3, which is a bit of a spoiler for V3,
Oh, an alibi, huh?
but
Now we're talking.
When you compare your
yeah,
past murders
even though
to the modus
Danganronpa was
operandi
heavily featured in J-Mod,
No, it's wrong.
there was like a scene where me and basically where I said, I want my gang stabbed by you.
Exactly the same.
And then Jill was like,
I'm
okay,
not so
I
sure
won't
about
kill you. But basically the whole plot of that scene was meant to poke fun at people who actually
I
simped
think
for
there's a
serial
slight
for killer.
difference
Like,
between the genocide Jack cases and this one.
so there was this girl in Japan who basically fell like madly in love with this guy at a host club. So madly in love that she actually tried to stab him. She got arrested, but don't worry, the guy was actually surprisingly chill about this, despite, you know, almost dying, and actually try and help defend her in court. This chick almost killed you.
Huh? How's it any
Uh-oh, you don't know? Well then, human garbage, let me tell you!
The only human garbage is literally right next to you, woman.
I murder with passion and conviction. I consider myself a professional, and I have a very particular way of doing things. Imagine you go to a fancy Italian restaurant. They're very picky about the noodles, the sauce, everything. But what happened to Chihiro? It'd be like if that same Italian restaurant started using ragu or Chef Boyardee.
Dear God.
This is no creation of mine.
Let me rephrase that in a way that maybe makes more sense. There are two clear differences between the genocide Jack cases and this one.
I don't know, if I was the Jack case's neck and stomach.
I got it! For one, the cause of death is different. In the genocide Jack murders, all the victims were killed the same way. According to the case file, they were all apparently killed with a pair of scissors. But Chihiro died from a blow to the head, right?
Ah, yes. That is remarkably different from the other murders.
Wouldn't it be strange for someone who kills the same way without fail to suddenly change their method? And there's more. One more conflicting detail.
That's right. In my recipe of murder, if the bloody message is the tortellini, then the arrangement of the body would be the pesto sauce.
Great! I went Italian.
Please stop comparing killing people to cooking?
So, are you saying the other difference has to do with how the body was arranged?
That's right. Suspended. Yeah, projects after their head. A clear difference.
I got it! Do you remember what the killer used to suspend her? They used some kind of rope to hang her up.
What is your point?
Well, in all the previous genocide Jack cases, something else was used. Specifically, pairs of razor-sharp scissors.
And guess what? I use my own specially designed scissors for the murders and the arrangement. Like I said, I'm a professional, so naturally I'm very picky about the tools I use. And you know what else? Big Mac said there's two differences. He's wrong.
Big Mac? Are you referring to me?
Listen up, Big Mac. There's actually one more
God.
difference.
Huh?
My word, you really didn't notice? Take a look at who the victims were in each genocide Jack case. There's a pattern there, just waiting to be
pattern.
Figure that out, and it'll why I couldn't have possibly killed that little lolly girl.
I mean, Chihiro is technically a high school student, so she's not technically a lolly. Chihiro was her lover.
I got it! Is it because Chihiro was...
Bingo! Bullseye! Right on the money!
In all the Genocide Jack cases, all the victims had something in common.
Alright, yes, I already said their names.
They were all guys?
They had giant...
That's right! The people I kill with such passion and conviction are all adorable little men! I can't believe I said it! I'm so embarrassed!
The hell is wrong with you?
I can't help it! I'm just a full-throttle boy-on-boy fangirl! And the mopey side of me just hates it! But now I'm on the fast track to becoming a full...
She's a... Oh god, she's a Fujoshi.
So since Chihiro was a girl and not an adorable little man, you wouldn't...
Would an Italian chef suddenly start making ramen just because they're both noodles? Don't be stupid. I have too much passion and conviction to cross that line. That's the absolute reality of the one and only.
We get it. You've clearly explained your hobby and your philosophy. It's a different matter entirely. When you're forced to kill in order to...
Quiet, lowly cur!
Lowly? Cur?
I'm the one calling people peasantine woman!
I would never kill for a reason as petty as mere survival. And if by some fluke I did kill to survive, why would I bother with the message and arrangement? It'd make me the obvious suspect!
That does make some amount of sense.
Plus, whatever reason I have for killing, I would never leave out my prized scissors. Who would go out of their way to use a big, stupid, heavy dumbbell? Maybe you used the dumbbell because you couldn't find any scissors in... Any scissors? I don't just use any scissors. I only use my own set of high-class envy of the entire world!
Okay, whatever. There still aren't any in the school.
Are you sure about that? Da-da-da-da! She's fully equipped!
She's a motherfucking JoJo!
Right! So I can... Why would I resort to dumbbells or rope when I have... Go ahead, tell me I'm wrong! You can't, can you, gutter dogs? Oh. Not to mention, I have no clue how to tie a good knot. So rope's totally out of the question anyway!
I have no idea what's going on anymore. Could such a heinous villain really be innocent?
But the body really was suspended, right? And nobody but the police knew about that.
Yeah. That's why we figured it had to be the real deal and not some copycat killer or...
Actually, there is one person. One person could copy Genocide Jack case. It's Leon's Coast! No, it's King Douchebag.
Here's my answer.
He was the one that showed us everything, after all.
Yakuya, it's possible you'd have no problem gaining access to classified government documents. Plus, you'd already looked through the Genocide Jack file before this all...
Are you saying Mr. Togami did it?
Then the reason he pushed the theory of Genocide Jack being because he wanted to pin the crime on...
So, he rearranged the scene to disguise it and make it look like I couldn't mistake the adorable glasses man was behind it all? Oh, I'm on fire!
Well, Byakuya, what's your response?
I see. So now the suspicion falls on me. Then I must ask, when would you say I began acting suspicious?
Looking back and thinking, the way you were acting right before we discovered...
And the locker room's very suspicious, would you agree? Very suspicious. Means that somebody searched the locker room. It's just not the girls' locker room.
You wanted to go to the girls' locker room right away, right? But since you're a guy...
I should have naturally thought of the boys' locker room first. Is that what you... The victim was Chihiro, a girl. Hence why I said we should check the girls' locker room.
Nothing strange about that,
On the contrary, there's...
Okay then, what's so strange about it? Go ahead, share...
There was a clear contradiction in what he said. Oh boy, one of my least favorite mechanics. We're gonna flashback. If you ain't at a weak spot, press the X button. Then you'll memorize it. Yeah, I hate this part. This thing.
So, you said Byakuya was acting kind of weird before we found his body. But he was acting weird.
If you're presented with the opportunity, that's a natural
The victim was Chihiro.
No, it's wrong.
Are you fucking dumb, douchebag?
I'll tell you what's so strange about that. Because up until we actually discovered the body, we couldn't have known who the victim was. So your claim that you went to the girls' locker room first because Chihiro was the victim doesn't hold up.
I see. That's interesting. Very interesting indeed. But you're huh? What's wrong? Is that it? Surely you've got more.
My favorite
than that.
kid, my favorite
Go
country,
ahead.
stood in
Show
a
us.
peasant.
What's the matter? You're not finished already, are you?
There is.
There is more to it. We just talked about the differences between this case and past Genocide Jack incidents. The proof you're looking for is...
Oh? Proof that I'm the cult?
The differences between this case and Genocide Jack murders are the evidence that proves that Byakuya is hidden in there? What could it be?
The difference between the you want me to when I want to kill, I use my very own, and I use those same scissors to arrange the body. But Chihiro was some kind of...
That's right.
It absolutely was.
Then there must be something very... Hey, Byakuya.
I'd never seen that rope before in my life.
Obviously, somebody else must have had it hidden away somewhere.
Phew. Blood, you goddamn... There's a reason I call him King Douchebag.
My very own special scissors, and I use those same scissors to arrange the body. But Chihiro was some kind of rope.
That's right. It absolutely was. Then there must be something very... Hey, Byakuya.
Where'd you get it from, huh?
I'd never seen that rope before in
My life.
Obviously,
Somebody else must have had it hidden away somewhere.
What? The difference? You want me to explain it again? When I want to kill, I use my very own, and I use those same scissors. But Chihiro was some kind of rope.
That's right. It absolutely was.
Then there must be something...
Hey,
Byakuya, where'd you get it from, huh?
I'd never...
No, it's wrong. Actually, I'm pretty sure you have seen it. Because you see, that rope, or should I say, that extension cord?
What? An extension cord?
Byakuya, you've used the extension cord in the library more than once. And the same extension cord that was in the library all this time went missing after the murder. And there's no way someone who uses that extension cord as much as you do.
And Byakuya must be the one who took the extension cord. I can't imagine any other possibility.
That's really what you think? Then your conclusion is something like this? I killed Chihiro in the girls' locker room, then hung her up and wrote that bloody message. I intentionally made it look like Genocide Jack was behind it. Is that about right?
He's doing it again. It's only calm and concerned.
What's
There you
wrong?
go.
I asked you if you think that's what...
Hell yes, that's what happened. So that's it, right?
I don't disagree with not disagreeing.
I love this chick.
Right? So he'd be totally willing to do something like this.
Sorry, but could we hold on? I think we...
Do we really need to?
I know. There's something that's still...
Is that right? And what? I killed her in the girls' locker room, then disguised my crime. Specifically, I dressed it up to make it look like it was. What about all that bothered?
Wait, what was that just now? Something's not right. Chihiro's body was definitely found in the girls' room. What does that mean? No, there's something about it.
I got it! You say you killed Chihiro in the girls' locker room, right? But are you sure about that? Isn't it possible that the...
What kind of question is that? Even in the world of disappointments, she was found dead in the girls' locker room. There is absolute... How could the scene of the crime...
Well, I think it's entirely along with the rest of the murder scene.
That was awfully specific. Please tell me you...
I believe...
Hey, okay, just a sec, Todd God. We're seeing a crime until now.
Hey, don't just move on without permission.
Come on, Makoto. If there's any chance the murder took place somewhere else...
Right.
I got it! The proof that she was killed somewhere else is the poster that's hanging.
Your proof is some posters?
The poster in the girls' a picture of a big-boobed supermodel. Don't you think that's kind of strange?
Maybe there are lesbians?
Why would the girls' locker room have a poster like that?
I bet those massive jugs of hers are totally fake!
Yes, it was that. I think this was the line that instantly made her my favorite character in this entire game.
Meanwhile, the boys' locker room
And you
had
also have a thing for psychopaths.
a poster of the super popular boy band Tornado. Again, that doesn't really seem to belong in a boys' locker room.
So you're saying that maybe the posters were switched?
And there's one other thing I noticed about... You know what I'm talking about, right, Sakura?
You're referring to my protein coffee, aren't you?
Coffee!
Protein coffee?
Coffee! Yes! Son, the guy that replaced Hina in J-Mod. Yeah, if you don't remember, Hina was killed off in J-Mod. Okay, for those that don't know, remember this, so I made a short video for J-Mod called Hina Be Dead. The plot was... It was like the last proper J-Mod episode did. It was a brief idea I had, like, again, to try and expand the universe of J-Mod. But... Basically, if you don't remember how it went, basically, at a Starbucks, Hina cut in front of the guy of Goto from Ace Attorney. Goto was mad at her for cutting in front of him, and the two had a bit of a very heated argument where Goto pulled out a shotgun and shot her point blank. Yeah, I was considering writing out Hina from J-Mod entirely at the time. I just thought her gag wasn't very funny anymore. If you don't remember, she was a constant psycho-happy murder lady who wanted to kill people for donuts.
While I was in the girls' locker room earlier, I spilled some protein coffee on the carpet, but I noticed that after the murder, the stain had been totally...
As I scrubbed away... Yeah.
Shoot! I got it!
There we go.
The stain on the girls' locker room In fact, I found it on...
That's definitely the stain from my protein coffee.
Then, does that mean that the carpets were switched? But why would anyone do it?
To move the murder scene from one locker room to the other. It's certainly plausible. In other words, in order to completely swap the scene of the crime. The blood-stained poster and carpet were moved along with the dead body. By doing this, the killer was able to change the entire room where the murder took place.
I can certainly follow your reasoning, but...
Huh?
Why would they go through all that trouble of switching the scene of the crime? Actually, an even bigger question.
Luigi.
If the murder did take place in the... Then how did Chihiro get in the boys' locker room? To get into the locker rooms, you have to swipe your e-handbook of Chihiro's handbook. should have she had no way to get into the boys' locker.
No, she did have a way, and I can tell you what it was.
I highly doubt that.
Shut up! I'm telling you, I know how she could have done it.
Is he right? Could Chiro have gotten in the locker room somehow? Well, it's at the 40-minute mark, so I'll be back. Like, subscribe, all that sexy stuff. See ya!